Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Top SST. Today we are going to take a new chapter from geography, that is manufacturing industry. In geography, you are having two chapters which are going to come for the board exam. One is manufacturing industry and the second is lifeline of national economy. And one more chapter is there which is only for your map work, that is minerals and energy resources. That also I will be covering in my videos later on. Okay, all the map work I will be covering at the end of lifeline of national economy. So let's move to the chapter manufacturing industry. Today I will be covering on the first 2 pages of this chapter, which is very, very important to understand. Later on, it will be very easy for you to understand the chapter if you understand these 2 pages. What is manufacturing industry? The question will come for 2 marks, or the question can come for 5 marks with the combination of the question. For example, they can ask you, what is manufacturing industry? Give importance of manufacturing industry, 2 plus 3. Or they can ask you, what is manufacturing industry? What are the ideal location to set up one industry? 2 plus 3. Or they can ask you 3 marks question, what is manufacturing industry? Give any 2 factors for ideal industrial location, 1 plus 2. So the combination of question will be anything, but very important definition to learn, that is manufacturing industry. So manufacturing industry, if you remember your geography chapters, okay, you have already learned the first chapter, that is resources and development, forest and wildlife, water resources, and agriculture. So if you look at all these 4 chapters, these 4 chapters comes under the primary sector. When we started learning about the minerals and energy resources, manufacturing industry, these 2 chapters will be under the secondary sector. And the last chapter which you are going to learn later on, that is lifeline of national economy, that is your tertiary sector. So now you need to remember that we are learning manufacturing industry under the secondary sector. That is, our economic activities are divided into 3 sectors. Okay, when we talk about the 3 sectors, you very well know that 3 sectors. One is primary sector, second is secondary sector, and the third one is tertiary sector. So we are into the secondary sector. Let's move. Manufacturing industry. Production of goods in large quantities after processing from the raw material. इसका मतलब क्या होता है? प्रोडक्शन ऑफ लार्ज क्वांटिटीज. ओके, जब हम गुड्स को लार्ज क्वांटिटी में बनाते हैं आफ्टर द प्रोसेसिंग ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल, व्हेन वी स्टार्ट प्रोसेसिंग द रॉ मटेरियल्स इनटू द लार्ज quantities to more valuable product is called as manufacturing. So here your keywords are large quantities, processing, raw material, valuable product is called as manufacturing. Manufacturing belongs to secondary sector, as I have already mentioned, in which the primary materials are converted. So whatever is being produced in the primary sector, it goes into the, it is as a raw material and it goes into the process which turn into the valuable product which comes under the secondary sector. So I hope you have understood. So what is manufacturing industry? Production of goods in a large quantity in process of raw materials to more valuable products. It's called as manufacturing. Manufacturing belongs to the secondary sector, in which the primary materials are processed and converted into a finished goods. Okay, finished goods are nothing but which can be used directly by the consumers. Next one, manufacturing sector is considered as a backbone of economic development of the country. Support the statement with example. As I told you that the question can come with the combination. Okay, for example, or alone this question can come for 5 marks. Very, very important question. Okay, so as I told you, the question can even come as a combination question where they can ask you what is manufacturing industry or define manufacturing industry, and then they can ask you what is the importance. So importance, if the question comes as importance, answer will remain the same. Okay, why I have taken this question as because sometimes what happened, if I if I write here, describe the importance of manufacturing industry. Okay, then if this question comes, then you will be confused. What will be the answer? Okay, so remember, children, the question can be in any form. For example, they can ask you, describe the importance. Okay, suppose, for example, if I write here, describe the importance of manufacturing industry, or manufacturing sector is considered as the backbone of economic development, or the question can come as the economic strength of the country measured by the development of manufacturing industry. All these questions are one and the same. So if they ask you, remember the key points in the question. If they ask you importance of manufacturing industry, or if they ask you backbone of economic development, or if they ask you strength of the country is measured, all this question is one and the same, and the answer will remain the same. Okay, let's move the first one. Manufacturing industry not only help in modernizing agriculture. Now, what do you understand by modernizing agriculture? Okay, so we know there are, like, different types of agriculture methods. Like, for example, when we use the traditional method, now everyone use tractors, or like, different methods of agriculture, different methods of farming they use. So that is called as modernizing, and which has helped, it is a manufacturing industry which has helped the agriculture sector to modernize, which forms the backbone of our economy. Why it is a backbone of the economy? Because still 70% of the population is dependent on agriculture. They also reduce the heavy dependence of the people on agricultural income, because we have seen in economics what we have learned about the disguised unemployment, where it's a small land and lot of people are working. Okay, the son is working. Okay, after this, the father, the son's son. Okay, everyone, when they don't get job, they start working on the same land without, like, extra benefit. So disguised unemployment, the problem of disguised unemployment is solved because of the manufacturing industries, by providing them jobs in the secondary and tertiary sector. I hope the first point is clear. Modernizing agriculture here is the key point, and heavy dependence of the people on agricultural income is reduced. Second one, industrial development is precondition for the eradication of unemployment and poverty from the country. It's a very, very important point, and you can split this point into 2 points. How? One, you can write that problem of unemployment is solved and problem of poverty is solved. How? Like, how it is a process. If you want to understand industrial development, when industries are set up, okay, when industries are set up, they need skilled labor as well as they need unskilled labor. Okay, both the labors are required. So industries, one new industry set up, people get employment. Okay, the people who are not getting employment, they will be getting employment. So what is happening in that time? The problem of unemployment is solving. Okay, the second one, when people are employed, they get wage. Okay, they get income. So with that income, they increase their standard of living. So in that way, the poverty of our country, like, the poverty precondition, there will be less poverty in the country, and there will be a growth of people. Third point, it also helps in bringing down regional disparities by establishing industries in the tribal and the backward area. So now the industries are not only going to set up in the cities. Okay, the industries are going to set up in various places, which will reduce the regional disparities. There will be city and the village which will come closer. Okay, so there are a lot of examples of it. So for example, if you take an example of Gurgaon, okay, so if I talk 20 years back the line, that was like, the place which was not so happening, or it was not developed. But now, because of industrial development, because of the ITs and everything, Gurgaon has come very closely to Delhi. Okay, people, you must have seen people talking like, I'm going to Delhi. But if you ask in Delhi where, they will tell you Gurgaon. So Gurgaon, if we talk about the Gurgaon, it is not in Delhi, but still the regional disparities has been reduced a lot because of the establishment of industries. Fourth point, export of manufacturing goods. Okay, so when there will be n number of industries which has been set up. What is now happening after the self-consumption? What we are going to do? We are going to export the goods. So when I am exporting the goods, what is happening? I am expanding my trade. Okay, मेरा जो धंधा है वो बढ़ने लगा. Okay, my business will increase. Okay, with the increase in the business, what will be happening? I will get revenue. Suppose, for example, if I am doing the business in the domestic territory, I will be getting my own currency. But if I go overseas, okay, if I start exporting my goods in the different countries, I will be getting the foreign exchange. So export of manufacturing goods expands the trade and commerce, and it brings much needed foreign exchange, which is one of the very important very important for the country's development. Countries that transform their raw material into a wide variety of furnished goods of the higher value and the prosperous. So it's a very simple thing. If I am going to use my raw materials and the variety of the goods are being given to the consumers, definitely the business will flourish. Excuse me. Okay, next one. This question can come for 2 marks. Okay, the question can come for 3 marks. The question can come for 5 marks. Again, the combination question. Okay, they can give you manufacturing industry importance, and then they can ask you describe the various physical and human factors responsible for the location of industry. Or they can ask you the question, suppose they can give you one statement. Rita wants to establish jute industry. What are the human and the physical factors she will look into it before setting up of the industry? Answer will remain the same. These are only the points which the one person will be looking before setting up of the industry. So what are the physical factors? First you need to understand what are the physical factors and what are the human factors. Human factors are which we are going to create. Physical factors which are already there, okay, which I am going to look into it. So physical factors, any industry which I want to set up, the first thing I will see that availability of raw material. Okay, ideal location will be there only if, suppose, for example, Geeta wants to establish the jute industry. I will see that that place will give me a raw material that is jute in a quantum or not. Okay, if suppose, for example, if I'm not getting jute from that area, definitely I will not set my industry over there. So the first one is availability of raw material. Second one is power resource. Okay, power resource, for example, coal, electricity. These power and electricity, coal and electricity is a main factor. Okay, I have set up the industry, but there is no electricity over there. Or like, I cannot produce the electricity, or I cannot use the electricity, then how I am going to run my factory? So power resources plays a very important role. Water and favorable condition. So for example, if you take an example of sugar industry, or for example, if you take an example of jute industry, or for example, cotton industry. So these all industry requires a favorable condition. Okay, so one person, if in future children, if you want to set up any industry, make sure that you remember all this point. This is all about SST, whatever you learn, how you apply in your day-to-day life. Okay, so you need to see whether the water is available or not for the processing, whether the condition, the climatical condition are favorable or not. You just open the industry, but there is no market. Okay, there is no good market to your product. What is the use of that industry? You will go in a bankrupt. Okay, your business will not run. If there will be no transport, good transport facility is not there, what will be happening? Your material will not reach to the market. Okay, so these all points needs to be very, very carefully you need to understand. That's the reason you are learning. And these all chapters, whatever you have learned in grade 10, if you look at minutely, you will see that everything is related to our day-to-day life, and you can make SST more interesting. Okay, so these all are the physical factors which we look for. When we look for the human factors, the first one will be cheap and efficient labor. Okay, definitely, if I am the industrialist, or if I am the entrepreneur, the first thing I will see that for my industry, for my business, I will be looking for the people if I get it in a cheap rate, because if I get a cheap labor, my profit will increase. But in the same way, if I don't get a cheap labor, what will be happening here? My cost of production will increase, which definitely no industrialist or no entrepreneur will want that to be happen. Then capital and bank facilities. Okay, how is the capital market? Money market kaisa hai? Bank facilities, whether the bank is going to give me the credit or not, or like if their bank, like anytime if I need the capital to run my business, is there any like industrial development banks are there? So these things also plays a very important role. Market plays a very important role. Market not only for the consumer but for the wholesaler, retailer. Every market needs to be established nearby area. Transport facility includes your port facilities, includes your roadways, railways, airways, mostly. But when we talk about transport facility here, your like it depends what is your industry, whether like your industry requires the port facilities more or the road facilities more. So it depends on industry to industry. But this question again, it's very important. They can ask you a direct question, describe the various physical human factor, or they can give you, as I told you, suppose for example, Ravi wants to establish the industry. What are the factors he is going to look forward, or what are the physical factors one person needs to consider before setting up of the industry? Answer will remain the same. Okay, so wherever you see that the keyword physical human factors responsible, this is your answer for the question. Why was the National Manufacturing Competencies Council has been set up? That is your NMCC. Or they can, this question again can come for 2 marks. How they can ask you? They can ask you, what is the full form of NMCC and why it has been set up? Okay, so in this question, I have given you the full form, but maybe in the board exam, if you get for 2 marks, they will not give you. Or if the paragraph comes, okay, they can ask you directly what is the full form of NMCC, and in the paragraph also, they will not use the Manufacturing Competencies Council has been like, this word will not be given. So first thing, you need to learn the full form of NMCC. N stand for national, N stands with your subject, that your chapter name, manufacturing. Okay, competencies you learn from competition. C for council. Okay, this is how you can learn the full form. And always when we write the full form, always the first alphabet will be in the capital form. So had been instituted for the proper policy interventions by the government to enhance productivity, because they knew that in future what will be happening in future, the manufacturing industry will achieve their target over the next decade. So that's the reason this council has been set up. Industrialization and urbanization go in hand. Validate the statement. The question can come for 2 marks or the question can come for 3 marks. This is not your 5 marks question. They can ask you, industrialization, urbanization go hand in hand. Justify the statement. Do you think that industrialization and urbanization go hand in hand? Explain. So any form, if you see this word, and this word, you need to give the same answer. After an industrial activity start, urbanization follows. Okay, how? I'll give you a simple example. Suppose take an example of A city. Okay, near A city, there is one more X place. Okay, X place, it's not developed. Okay, but there is a potential to develop that place. So this X place, industries has been set up. Suppose, for example, mechanical industries has been set up. So when one person has set up the mechanical industry, so what will be the next thing will be coming over? Definitely from city A, people will not travel every day. Yes or no? People will not travel every day to that place which is far away, for example, 30 kilometers or 40 kilometers. So now in this X place, what will be happening? What will be happening? It will be township will come. Okay, township means the housing facilities. So when the house will come, When people will start living, the next thing what will be coming? Educational institution. With the educational institution, simultaneously your hospitals, dispensaries will come. Okay, with the hospital, dispensary, everyday people will not travel to the A city to purchase something. So small shops will come. That small shops will will convert into malls and other places. So this is how, like, you know, the industrial activity, when industrial activity starts, the urbanization follows. Sometimes industries are located too near the city. I have explained you how cities provide market for the manufacturing goods. Here, whatever the manufacturing things are happening, it will go to the city, from city to the different cities to the different nations. So this is how the process happens. Cities provide various services like banking and insurance. So with this all, definitely the banks will also establish. So this is the reason why industrialization and urbanization go hand in hand. Okay, industrialization starts happening, slowly, steadily, urbanization also starts happening. What are agglomeration economy? Okay, so it is very simple. Cities which provides market and also provide service such as banking, insurance, transport, labor, financial advisor, etc. to the industry. So what happens here? Many industry tend to come together to make the use of advantages offered by the urban center, is known as this. This is, I have just written for your explanation in the chapter. Like, you know, if the question comes for 2 marks, you need to just write many industry which tend to come together to make use of advantages which are offered by the urban centers. Okay, which are offered by the urban centers. Maybe it is your transport, whether it is banking, whether it is insurance, or it is consultants or the financial advisor. So when they come together and they start using, like, you know, they start offer the advantages which are there in the urban center, that is known as agglomeration economies. Tomorrow, we will be meeting with the classification of industries, or 4 classification we will be looking into, and then we will be looking into agro-based industry, maybe 1 or 2 agro-based industries we are going to learn. Thank you. Keep tuning to my channel.